Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. Okay, the D&D MagnaLatch. I've dismantled one. And if you really want a bit of fun on the weekend, try dismantling it without breaking it. And I have managed to do it. Now, what the problem was with this is that when you were putting in the key, it wasn't locking. Kink, 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 not locking. Okay? And I thought, oh, somebody's had a go at this. But I've worked out what they've done. What they've done is they've had the key, they've put it in there, and something wasn't right, and they've turned it further than they should have. Now the way that this works, and I'll show you, I'll bring in my dental light here and we'll zoom right in. Okay, here we are, and now we can focus up. Okay, so you see that part there? Alright, this part gets turned by the tailpiece of the PD cylinder. It's actually just pushed in there, so you've got to give it a little wiggle to get it out. If I can. Come on out. There we go. Alright, so that's what the part looks like. Focus. I'm going to zoom out a little bit just to make sure we get focus here. Okay, so that's what the part looks like, if you can see it. So you can see it's like a slippery slide all the way up and down. On the bottom here is a press fit into a circle which has, there's our circle, which have fins on the other side. So when this goes on, it's like a mushroom and it clips underneath here. And I must say that it's really well designed. Like I'm enjoying pulling it apart. Now, it was hard to pull apart. When this part turns, it turns left and right, and there's this little fin right here. Now if you want to stop it, there'll be a stop on this side. You want to stop it, there'll be a stop on this side. But what's actually happened, deep down, if I can show you, is that it's jumped over this one, or it's jumped over this one. Jumped over this one, or jumped over this one. So what that means is that when I found it, it was in this position. Okay, so it wasn't really kind of doing much. Like I was getting that much movement from it. And that doesn't work, because the way this works is that when you turn it, this goes down, or this raises. Now there wasn't a lot of lubricant in here, and I'd recommend spraying some lubricant in there. Let's put it like there, and I'll go backwards as I reassemble it. I'd recommend putting some lubricant in there because it was a bit tight. It is plastic on plastic, you don't need it, but it'll probably help it a little bit. So somebody's put the key in and they've turned this cog all the way around, and that's what's caused it to jam up, meaning that it's time for a new lock. So I'm going to reassemble it so I can show you, so that way if you wanted to fix your one, you could. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my screwdriver in here and I'm going to set it about halfway. Now when I was talking about engineering, the engineering is really good. Along the side here, you've got a channel, these two channels right here, where this part slides on these poles that go up and down here. So if we look at that, that is in a, I don't know what the technical term is, but you've got a fin and a slide action there. So that works really well. I'm going to put this in about the middle position, and I'm just going to slide these two in together. If I can. Good. They don't want to play along. Alright, I'll just put in the lower section, line the top up, and put my screwdriver in there for some sort. You know what? I'm actually going to put it in the right way. That will really help. Put my screwdriver in that way. So it's like the mushroom will sit on that side. The fins, mushroom down. Let's put this in the right direction there too. As long as I get it in part of its turning circle, I should be right, if you can see that. Now I'm going to push my knob on, and I'm going to push this down. Now, if I've got this right, if you can see it, nope, it's not right. Okay, now I've seated that, I've pushed it over the mushroom, it's in there. So if you can see it, this should raise and lower, and it does. See that raise and lower action on that red piece? That's how it should be. So we're going to leave it in about the middle position. Okay, that's about where we want it. Alright, now this whole mechanism here, if you have a look at this mechanism, we've got a mushroom with a mushroom shape on, once again, another mushroom on an elongated shape. This part here goes this way, so it clips in there. And when I was talking about the engineering, it's like a clip-in section there for this top pull section. So this top pull section just clips straight onto the top. It's a little bit hard to get off, but it does clip in there like that. Alright, so I guess any way will work on this part. So now we slide it into this specially formed tube aluminium. Okay, and it sits in there real nice and tight. I really like the way that this has been designed. Okay, that goes in there like that. I'll leave the screws until the end. Okay, we're over to this section now. If you can see that, I might bring you in a bit more. Okay, that's a bit better. Alright, so now we have two pieces. That's on the front. Then we have this cap. Now this cap was hard to get off. It's got these hooks that you have to push in. The way that I did it is I used circlip pliers, and I pulled these ones in, and then I got my screwdriver around it. I gave it a little lift, and I came around to the back, and I pushed it in from the side. So I guess we could, let's not drop that in just yet. Let's get this piece in. Now there's a flap at the back, okay, and a triangle at the front. Yeah, so that slides in. So once again, the engineering, it's a T plastic section. There's a lot of engineering that's gone into that, and yeah, I'm pretty happy. You know, it's good for what it is. It's a plastic lock, and the way it's designed is great. All right, so we need to make sure this goes down out of our way without turning it too far, and making sure that it's still on its slippery slide. So that's the furthest point down. So as we turn this part here, this red thing lifts and lowers. All right, so now I'm going to put this part in here, and that looks right. All right, pulled it out again. Here we have our cap. So the legs closest to the back are at the back. So we'll just clip that on. I hope it's right, otherwise I have to pull it off again. I can leave it just pushed in there like that. For now, I'm going to slide this part in. Now when I clip this on over the top here, I need more room, so I do need to clip this down. Alright, so this is tapper. 1, 2. Alright, now I'm going to lift this section here, and I'm going to push this down. Listen to the clicks. Now this is a plastic lock, and it's clicking into place. Alright, now we have action. So the way that this works is you pull the back of it here, right, and as you lift it, it's going to lift. If you go like this, nothing's happening. It's because this MagnaLatch will automatically attach itself to the magnet on this side, and then when you go to pull it, it'll pick up its spring and its travel, and it will release. Okay, and then we put our cylinder back in there, which I don't have, and then I put this part back over the top here. Okay. Now I turn it to the lock position. The indicator goes red. Make sure I don't reset it the other way. Okay, we're locked at the moment. I hope I haven't turned it too far. It's a problem with these plastic things. Come on off. I just got to make sure that mushroom's coming up. I really need that cylinder in there to make sure it doesn't travel, and I've turned it too far. Alright, that's in its correct position, pushing it down, but I have to be careful of that. If I had a cylinder in there, it wouldn't, as long as you use a cam on the back of your PD cylinder, it can only turn so far. Unless you really force it, it shouldn't move. Right, so that's unlocked, but when you turn it to locked, the red comes to the top. So you can still see the red even when it's unlocked, right? Unlocked, move it to the top, the red comes to the front. Still visible when it's unlocked, the red is still visible if you look deep down. And we'll turn that, turn it down a little bit there. Now to take this out, it's just a simple square screw, so that's how you get to your cylinder if you want to do a change combo. We'll put these two screws in the back of it, and then we will simulate it in action. Being very careful, don't want to cross thread it. Make sure your screws go back in the same, make sure the flutes of the screw go back in the same position, that way it's got maximum strength. So just turn it backwards until you feel that the screw digs in. And once it digs in, you will find your lead edge on your screw. Keep turning, don't use any power tools. Okay, and then we have it. Alright, so that's the open position now. This striker plate, once again, the engineering in this is really good because it's got a screw on the side, right? So you can move it in and out by adjusting the screw on the side. It's also got two other screws, so you can allow you to do vertical movement. I don't know where that is, but it's gone. Alright, I just heard the click. I'll simulate it again. Listen for the click. Okay, that is this post. That is this post snapping down when the magnet gets close to it. Let me show you. See that? That's what's happening. So as soon as this post comes within range, It then slams in here via magnet, and it's my screwdriver, and it gets hooked in behind this bit of plastic right here. So the design for outdoor weather conditions is pretty awesome. Now I think D&D got bought out by Lockwood or somebody, but somebody would know. Leave it down in the comments. As the gate comes to, click. Okay, now we're clicked in, and we can release the gate whenever we want. We just pull it. There we go. Got to pull it harder. Pull it, and it's released. Okay. If you want it to not be released, you've got to lock it. And when you lock it, the red dot will come to the top, like so. Now when I pull it, I've got no movement on the knob, and look, it's locked. On the side position here, you'll also notice the little triangle, and you'll notice your center mark here. You'll also notice some adjustment marks here as well, because it comes with a bracket when you fit it to a gate, and if that moves or so, you can take that screw out, slide it up, slide it down, because it's actually on a channel, piece of channel plastic on when it's mounted to the gate. So if you wanted to, I'll just quickly show you, if you wanted to adjust your lock position, right, take that out, take that out. Let's say that you wanted to move this backwards or forwards. You back off the screw, lift it up or lift it down, and then you'll find that one of the other holes there will actually correspond. So you lift it up, lift it down, and you can use one of the other holes. You put your screw back in. That allows you to move this up and down. With this one here, like I said before, with this screw thread here, you simply loosen it or tighten it like this, and it moves in or out. You'll see some more marks right here as well. So that allows you to move it in or out, because gates move all the time. On here, you've got a center position, and on here you see a little indent of a mark. So your corresponding mark there and there. On the side here, you've got your line, and you've got your triangle right there as well. So the design of this is just awesome, because gates move. They're a real pain in the bum, and for a lock, you need it to be strong, reliable, durable, keyed up to your house key, and be able to withstand the outdoor weather conditions. And that's where this brand really kind of ticks all the boxes. That's why we know it so well. That's why it's sold at our Bunnings, which is like Home Depot in the US. And yeah, it's just a great lock. As far as fixing that problem, well, that's how I got it apart. You know, it's fairly difficult to get apart, but now you've seen how it comes apart, you can do it yourself. So I'll just run through it real quick. Pop that up. Okay, pop this cap off, and with this part here, it is kind of tricky to get that off, but that's how it comes apart, and that's what causes this center drive to get out of alignment, is by somebody having a key in there and cranking it past where its little plastic bump stops is. Ideally, if you were trying to rectify this problem, you would put more plastic on either side of those bump stops to stop this cog from going all the way around. But you can't. It's just the way it is. I'm saying that if they were to design it that way, they would not sell as many. If somebody was to get it and crank the key around, it's like 80 bucks, you just got to buy a new one. So that's where they have to keep selling and making their money. As far as the cylinder goes in, it's just a PD. It just slots straight in there, and it just works on the back of the cam. There might have been a little plastic bracket in there, but it's gone now. And as far as getting the cylinder out, this is another thing that I like about this. They've thought about us locksmiths and thought, okay, we need to get the cylinder out. So one screw on the front with a security square screw head, so it makes it harder, and you know, it's uncommon. You take that out, you just pop this cover up like so, you just pop the cover up, and you're ready to start, you know, rekeying. Where are we here? Here we go. You pop the cover up, comes off, and once again, it's good engineering. It's got the hook to hook in and then screw down. So see that? It's got a big hook in there. It's a strong little unit, and for us locksmiths, it's a walk in the park to rekey. It's got a standard PD cylinder, I think, with a floating cam in there, and it works well. It just works well. I'll zoom out. Alright, so that's the MagnaLatch. It comes in two sizes, and that's how to do the repair if you wish to do the repair. I know there's a lot of older lock people out there who, you know, would want to do the repair, you know, rather than buy a new one. This one, when it came up for rekey, we found the problem. It was deemed broken and needed to be replaced, so it was replaced. But the truth is, had we've known how to pull it apart on the job site, we possibly could have repaired it. I'm saying that too, if those little fins in there get worn down, it's more common that somebody could do it again. So you really need to crank it left or crank it right beyond that locked point to get it into the state that it was in, because the cog was upside down. So yeah, it had to be replaced, so it's going in the bin probably afterwards or in the parts container. But that is how you pull one apart, that is how you put it back together, and hopefully it might save somebody having to buy a new one, especially if it's difficult, you know, to get to a hardware and buy one. But if you do have that problem and you're not keen on pulling it apart, because believe me, it took me half an hour to work out how to get it apart. If you're not keen on doing that, just replace it. Just replace it. If you want a replacement key, if you want a replacement key, or you want to change the key to match your front door, you can take the cylinder out, take it to your local locksmith, and then pop it back in, pop that screw in there, and you'd be good to go. So MagnaLatch, the new model pull gate lock made by D&D. That's a quick overview. Thanks for watching.